Hey, house guests, it's your girl Raqfamousstar. Okay, after like 9,000 takes, I'm here to give you the lowdown on episode 35. Um, so not gonna lie, this episode to me was just very like slow. It wasn't like that action-packed episode, and I waited to find out who the HOH was and who noms were because I wanted to like make it a surprise for myself. But I was watching this other YouTubers recaps, and someone asked them a question like, what are your favorite seasons? And I was trying to think about, well, what are my favorite seasons? And then I was like, well, I really love the seasons where there's a lot of action and a lot of like balance of power and not just one side hoarding all the power. And I feel like even though I really, really love Paul and Victor, um, now I really love them. I feel like it's too much like hoarding of power. Not just with Paul and Victor. I feel like I love it that they're safe, but that they've been safe, or they've crawling themselves out of safety or out of trouble. But I'm not a fan of Nicole and Corey at all. And I know there's like I didn't know this until I was watching videos about this, but I guess there's like a huge like following of Nicole. I mean, I get it. She was on what last not last season, the season before. I don't know, but I just can't get with her voice and like her whining and everything she says just sounds like, but why? Like, why? I just, and some people may be saying about my voice, but I don't care. So they left off with the HOH competition still going on, and I'm thinking, okay, we started off last season. Give us about 10 minutes of the competition and tell us who the winner is already. That did not happen with this HOH competition. And I knew this competition was going to be long, but that's why it's on TV and they're going to edit the crap out of it for us. I did not feel the editing I felt like I watched all 2 hours of this competition. It was just so much. Like, we did not have to see all attempts of them throwing this egg down the ramp. And on my last video, you kind of saw that I was confused on how the rolling down the ramp would go. I didn't know the ramp could move, so basically they had to chicken wire this egg all the way around the chicken coop, and then they got it through a hole, and then they got to roll it down a movable ramp to knock down HOH. And it was just so much. And after finally, like, it just seemed like days, but I know I'm being dramatic. It was hours after rolling the eggs down the ramp. There was a four-way tie between Natalie, Victor, Paul, and Corey for a while. Like, they were having a hard time getting down that last H. But after a while, finally, Victor won, and Victor and Paul, of course, are gonna celebrate because they are out with their alliance. Like it's obvious that they're working together. Um, but yeah, so we. I mean, there were some things that went on this episode, but there's not as many. I mean, we're getting down to what, 6 people, so there's not as much like real juicy game talk going on. They talked the boys, which is Paul, Victor, and Corey. They talked about like the perks of being in a small town with Nicole. They were making fun of her, and so that was like a little time filler clip. I don't know. So James and Nat know they are in trouble. And Natalie said she would take James down if she won the veto, and James tells her no. And James, he talks with Natalie, and this is probably like separate times, but James talks with Natalie about his feelings for her, and like, how he feels, and Natalie was like, I've dated all kinds of guys, and um, I really feel like Natalie's feelings for James are genuine. I mean, I don't know if like they're going to get married. Like, I don't see them as like a Brenchel where like, oh yeah, they're meant for each other. Not just because they're so ridiculous like Brenchel was. But I just think they live in different parts of the city. I think both Brendan and Rachel lived in LA, so it was easy for them to like date. But I don't know. I just think they're different parts of life, and I don't know. I don't know. I think they're going to stay friends, but I don't know if I see them like getting married. I mean, caress them if they do, but so Nicole was talking to Corey, and she said it was kind of cocky for Corey to go for the half basket. And I don't know if I mean, I guess if you are in the house, then it's different. But I was looking at it as like, well, god dang, somebody got to go for it. It's probably gonna take a while to get all these eggs down. I might as well like. I probably would have went for it. Ooh, that looks good. I probably would have went for it on like my first egg. Just because I would have been like, it's so hard to get these eggs all the way around and over here. Let me just go for. I mean, you only have to put one egg in there, so I can stick three in there to become a half. So yeah. I don't. They didn't show who else went for it, and they didn't really make it clear after the competition who was a half, but I don't know. So James tries to get the heat off Natalie. Um, and he's telling them like, yeah, we were in a Final Four, we made the deal after Polly left, and blah blah blah. And while he's having this conversation with them, and I feel like it could have went a little further, but I still feel like Paul and Victor are very in with this alliance. I mean, because they kind of have to be for at least another week. They are very with this alliance with Nikori, right? So they're very in it. And I don't know if necessarily that's the best idea. I do feel like, okay, I'll talk about this later, but I do feel like eventually they need to break and try to split them up. Split Nicole and Corey. They need to split everybody up, actually. But I mean that comes with time. And so Nicole and Corey, they walk in, and instead of going like, hey, can we get the room for a minute? Like, I'm really trying to talk to him right now. He doesn't say anything, and they just kind of sit there. And so Victor's like, I'm going to go take a shower. And then James gets up and leaves. And I don't like it when they make it so obvious with their, like, with what they were doing. And they, like, stop the conversation, or they leave, or, you know, they just make excuses or talk about something that's totally random. So it was obvious. And then Nicole was like, did he ask for an alliance, or we were working together? And he was like, no, but, and so Paul kind of gives them the lowdown of what happened. And Nicole tries to lie and say she wasn't in an alliance with James and Natalie, but Paul and Victor are like, that doesn't matter. We're working with you guys right now, and that's hindsight. It's water under the bridge, blah, blah, blah. But Nicole is still trying to lie. She's trying to lie, but they're telling her, you don't even have to try to lie right now. So that's kind of why I don't really like Nicole. I would like Corey if he wasn't like attached to Nicole. But I don't know, whatever. So noms for this week. This episode really could have contained so much more. They might as well have just played veto or pick the play. Hold on, they can't pick the players. It's everybody. But so the noms end up being James and Natalie, of course. And in Victor's speech, he kind of tells Natalie like, "Hey, I hope you get the veto and pull yourself off, because James is my target." And James, like, and I think James took it pretty like, you know, he wasn't like he took it like how everybody's supposed to take it, not cryy, just kind of like it's a game. I made my choice. I'm going to, not suffer for my choice, but like deal with it. Maybe because James is just a different kind of person, but I don't know. I feel like he dealt with it the way he was supposed to. Um, and I don't know. I'm scatterbrains. Oh, because a few weeks ago, not a few weeks ago, like two, when Victor was voted out in the second time, um, Natalie told James to vote out Corey, and James voted out Victor. So it's kind of like, coming back to bite James. I'm glad that Paul didn't throw himself up, because you see it too many times of like, my best friend's HOH, let me go up as a pawn. Oh my gosh, I'm going home. How did this happen? Because you threw yourself up on the block. So I'm hoping that Paul does not end up on the block any kind of way. I hope they don't. Hope if Natalie or James comes down, they don't try to like talk Paul into going up as a pawn, and then bam, Paul's out. I hope that doesn't happen. Let's see. Hope that I I hope that in some ways that James and Nicole go home this week. I feel like they need to split up Nicole and Corey, because they're just very good at talking people into doing what they want, and it's annoying to me. I just am not a fan of theirs, so everything they do is going to get on my nerves. But I feel like that's what Victor and not Corey, Victor and Paul need to do, is split up Corey and Nicole next week. Paul needs to win HOH next week, and Victor needs to try to just get James out this week. And if you can't get out James, then sorry, Corey and Nicole, like any one of them. But let me know what you guys think. Those are my thoughts. This episode was kind of dry, so I just kind of tried to fill this recap with my thoughts. But that wraps it up for me. Thanks for watching, and you're welcome. Bye.